Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into the terrifying, pitch-black, and honestly, utterly fascinating evolutionary biology of the ocean's most extreme survivors. We're heading way down below the sunlit surface to check out creatures whose adaptations are so bizarre, they literally defy logic. So, grab your virtual scuba gear, because things are about to get very dark and very strange.
Think about the sheer scale of the unknown for a second. We're always looking up at the stars, wondering about alien life, completely forgetting that we've got an entirely alien world right here on Earth. I mean, more than 80% of our oceans have never been mapped, explored, or even seen by human eyes. It's this massive, hidden wilderness, and as you're about to see, the things that rule this kingdom, they're nothing short of monstrous.
To really get these creatures, we have to understand where they live, 3,000 feet. As we drop past this depth, we cross into a totally punishing reality. We enter absolute, impenetrable darkness. The temperature just plummets, and the pressure, it gets so incredibly intense that a human body without protection would be instantly pulverized. Seriously, for the longest time, scientists were convinced life couldn't even exist down here. But, as the data clearly shows, life doesn't just exist, it's been thriving down there for hundreds of millions of years.
All right, let's jump into Section 1, Seeing in the Abyss. Okay, meet the Ophthalmosaurus, and wow, one thing immediately jumps out, right? Those massive 9-inch eyes. To put that into perspective, each eye is roughly the size of a dinner plate or even a basketball. Now, it didn't need these massive eyes for taking in beautiful underwater vistas. No, it needed them to track the incredibly faint, bioluminescent glows of its prey in total darkness. Plus, to dive 3,000 feet deep and hold its breath for 20 minutes, nature gave it specialized bone rings built directly into its skull. That way those giant eyes wouldn't just collapse under the crushing pressure. Pretty wild.
Now, while your standard sea creatures usually have side-facing eyes, to watch out for predators, the Phosphorosaurus evolved completely differently. This 12-foot nocturnal assassin, which hunted off the coast of Japan about 70 million years ago, developed forward-facing eyes. They basically acted like biological sniper scopes. It would sleep during the day when the really big predators were out, and then hunt at night, locking that incredible binocular vision onto glowing prey in the dark.
Moving right along to Section 2, Terrifying Teeth and Jaws.
If you ever needed proof that the deep sea is basically a horror movie come to life, look no further than the viperfish. Its teeth are so absurdly long they literally can't even fit inside its mouth. Actually, they curve backward toward the creature's own eyes. The biological engineering here is just incredible. Since it hunts by violently ramming into its prey at extremely high speeds, the viperfish actually risked piercing its own brain with its teeth on impact. So to solve this, it evolved a specialized biological shock absorber. It's a unique bone right behind its head to take the immense force of the ambush. Oh, and it even rocks a glowing light on its belly to lure unsuspecting victims straight into the trap.
Then we've got the Goblin Shark, a creature that takes the whole trap concept to a completely different level. Just compare its ancient ancestor from 125 million years ago to the shark we see today, the difference? Zero. None. Because there are practically no predators down in the extreme depths where it hangs out, this living fossil hasn't needed to evolve or change a single bit. When prey gets close, the goblin shark doesn't just bite, its entire jaw violently shoots outward, like a secondary face just jumping out of its skull to snatch the victim. It is deeply unsettling, but you gotta admit, it's a totally flawless evolutionary design. And you know what the wildest part is? Some of these ancient leviathans never actually left us. Take the frilled shark. This 6-foot-long, eel-like predator has literally been hiding in deep ocean caves for 80 million years. Everyone thought it was completely extinct until a fisherman dragged one up back in the 1800s. And the hardware on this thing is staggering. 300 trident-shaped teeth, all neatly arranged in 25 rows. It doesn't even bother chewing. It basically functions like a living vacuum, trapping prey up to half its own size in those backward-facing teeth and just swallowing them whole.
All right, on to Section 3, Masters of Extreme Survival. So, this is perhaps the strangest love story in the entire animal kingdom. Finding a meal in the absolute dark is hard enough, right? But finding a mate? Nearly impossible. So the anglerfish spent 50 million years perfecting this bizarre cycle. When a tiny male finally locates a massive female, he bites onto her and just never lets go. Over time, his skin and blood vessels permanently fused with hers. Eventually, his eyes, his mouth, and his organs literally dissolve until he's nothing more than a permanent parasitic lump on her body. A single female might have several of these fused males attached to her, ensuring she absolutely always has a mate whenever she needs one. Crazy, isn't it?
Now, if you thought boiling water and toxic waste were bad for your health, let me introduce you to the tube worm. These guys completely rewrite the rules of biology. They live right next to deep-sea volcanic vents, where the water reaches a blistering 700 degrees Celsius, completely saturated with lethal chemicals. It's a total masterclass in symbiosis, mainly because tube worms don't even have mouths or stomachs. Instead, they rely on specialized bacteria living inside their bodies to eat the toxic, boiling lava runoff and convert it directly into pure energy. Nature always finds a way, right?
So, just how old is this hidden world? Well, take a look at the tube worms. 430 million years ago. That is vastly older than the very first dinosaurs. Through global mass extinctions, ice ages, and asteroid impacts that completely wiped out life on the surface, these deep-sea monsters just kept right on swimming. The sheer isolation of the abyss acted as this ultimate protective time capsule, allowing these incredible life forms to remain totally, stubbornly unchanged through the eons.
But to survive in an unchanging world with very little food, you need extreme patience. 5 years. That is exactly how long the giant isopod can go without eating a single bite of food. Imagine a common garden pill bug, but, blow it up to the size of a football. These scavengers scour the pitch-black ocean floor. When a dead whale eventually sinks all the way to the bottom, thousands of these isopods will swarm the carcass, absolutely gorging themselves until they can barely move. After that, they just curl up in the mud, fast, and stay perfectly motionless for up to 5 years, literally just waiting for the next meal to fall from the sky.
Let's dive into Section 4, the ancient giants.
Just look at the sheer absurdity of the Ophthalmosaurus. When scientists first dug up this fossil, they actually thought it was a bunch of different shells just tangled up together. But nope, it was a single creature dragging around a 10-foot-long shell shaped exactly like a massive paperclip. And instead of swimming forward like a normal fish, it hunted by bobbing vertically up and down in the water column. The best part? If you count the growth rings on that massive paperclip shell, researchers discovered this creature had a lifespan of over 200 years. It was outliving almost any dinosaur up on the surface by centuries.
Then there's the Abyssosaurus, and its name literally translates to the bottomless lizard. Now, while most marine animals naturally evolve lighter, more porous bones to help them easily float and glide through the water, the Abyssosaurus went the exact opposite route. It evolved incredibly dense, iron-like bones. Why? Well, because it didn't want to float. It wanted to sink like a stone. It used this immense weight to plummet rapidly into the darkest ocean chasms. It would sit right there in the absolute blackness and use its incredibly long neck to just whip out and ambush any prey that happened to swim too close.
And hey, if you're thinking all these giants and monsters are safely locked away in the fossil record, think again. The coelacanth was a prehistoric fish that scientists were absolutely 100% certain went extinct 66 million years ago along with the dinosaurs. That was a widely accepted scientific fact, right up until a fisherman pulled a live one out of the water off the coast of South Africa in 1938. Much like the ancient blind trilobites that once ruled the ocean floor, the coelacanth proves a really terrifying and thrilling point. The deep ocean is an absolute master at keeping ancient secrets completely hidden from us.
Which brings us to our final takeaway in Section 5, Earth's very own aliens. We pour billions of dollars and unimaginable resources into pointing our telescopes at the stars, searching the freezing void of space for even the slightest hint of alien life. Yep, as we've explored today, unimaginable alien-like life forms, creatures that literally fuse together to mate, live in boiling toxic chemicals, go half a decade without eating a single thing, and look entirely out of this world, they are thriving right now, deep in the unexplored abysses of our very own planet. It really begs the question, what else is down there, just hiding in the dark, waiting to be discovered? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and definitely keep that curiosity alive.